and welcome to the market review of this past week. So as usual, we'll start from the S&P SPY ETF, and as you can see, we had a pretty rough week from the starting from we had a good Monday, then start seeing some severe sell-off after Powell's testimony and continuation, and then into Thursday when we got the tariff news. We tried to hold on to this 100 SMA level, and we bounced back up. But on Friday, we kind of broke under it, but held on to this support over, back from the December, and the 265 support. And we had a nice green reversal candle on Friday. So this was a pretty big reversal. Even though you look at the volume, it was quite low. And also, if you look at the volume compared to the big sell-off we had, at the beginning of the February, you can see how big of the sell-off, almost 300 million on an average was the sell-off all these 5 days here. But then after that, we went back up, but on a very low volume. It's not, this is just a straight line, nothing big. This is just what this is. It's look at this volume, much lower when we ramped up in the January on a very low volume, and then we sold off on a very heavy volume. But this volume that we went back up was still bigger than back in January. I mean, if you look at December to January, low volume. So keep an eye on this. I'm hoping and I'm assuming on this big green candle on Friday, I'm expecting a close back up over 270 sometime on Monday or Tuesday, and hopefully reduce a little. As usual, though, I think we have some volatility in the market. That's given. But be careful, trade light, but keep an eye on this level. 275 and 265 is your range for now, I think. We're going to test these levels again, the 278 and 265. This is your range for now. Unless we are able to break over 280, we are trading in this region. And these SMA lines are going to be your big things to watch out for. So that's S&P. Moving on to the QQQ, the Nasdaq. Now this is one of the strongest sectors that we have seen in the market during this last up and down month. So you look at it, same thing goes here. The volume was super low in December. Had a big sell-off on those heavy volume, and then we have a little bit of a higher volume than December, but still not as high. So this sell-off that we had in last 3 days wasn't big sell-off, wasn't on a heavy volume if you compare to this. So that's not a concern, nothing to concern about overall, but still a low volume. So this reversal candle we had on Friday, again, a nice reversal from the fib 162.94. We kind of went underneath, but we closed way above it, and we are back at the resistance, right around the 166. We are at the resistance over here that we had over here. So as you can see, resistance. We are back at this level. So let's hope we break above it on Monday. And I think the tariff is not going to affect your tech much, as we will see as I will show you in the future further stocks. The tariff is not going to hurt maybe Apple, but stocks like Netflix, Facebook, they won't get hurt by tariff much. So keep an eye on tech, as these can rally when the market will lag for next few weeks. So eyes on tech. Let's look at the small caps. So let's just take a step back, and I want to show you something real quick. Let's just go back here, And this is what I posted on StockTwits on Thursday. So as you can see, the 148.38, this strong support line was held on Thursday. Okay, this is all I wanted to show you. This is what I posted on StockTwits on Thursday, 148.38. And when we come back to the Friday, we tested at 148.38 again, and we spiked. Oh boy, we spiked. We had a nice reversal, almost a $4 reversal on IWM, small caps. But we are back at that resistance over here, 152.32. We closed at 152.35. So once we break out of this area, 152.35, we can go back up and test this 153, 155-ish. But this was a nice reversal. So, and I bought some calls for next week, and I was greening them, so I'm holding over the weekend. But I'm expecting a run up to 155. So that's my target on IWM. Now let's look at some what happened to Netflix. Netflix is right here. Okay, so what we saw on Netflix was speechless. Just speechless. Even though you see this nice U shape, perfect. Went to all-time highs, made a nice 3-day pullback, which is also, you can look at as a bull flag, because it was consolidating in that 297 and 286 region. And then nice spike from the 13 SMA on Friday, and next target is 313. We closed over 300 for the first time on Netflix. We closed at the highs on Netflix on Friday. So 313 is the next target before we see any kind of consolidation or a pullback, which can easily happen next week. Now, before we move on to something else, I want to share something about Netflix. As you can see right over here, we had some nice activity on Netflix back on 222. 222, we saw some $300 calls being bought. Not just one, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, plenty of them at the ask, sweeps and blocks. And these were bought at $180, $2, $205, and these were around $10 on Friday at the close. So this was a nice, if we had followed it, this was a nice play over here. And we also saw some 285 calls being bought at the ask on 223 for May, and these were also up very nicely. Now I did not play these, but you know, it's the scanner that we should have keep an eye on. But just look at that. I mean, if we had just played any of these, you know, bought for $1 or $2, they would have paid really, really well on Friday and for next coming up weeks. So something to, you know, if you are just watching this video and not a Black Box Stocks member, you know, we have a free trials that we do every single week. This option scanner, if you're we also have stocks, we also have OTC, but option is, you know, option scanners are really, really blowing out, and this would have been a killer play had we keep an eye on it. So moving on to, I want to talk about Walmart. Now, obviously, this had a nice pullback, a severe pullback from the earnings, you know, and kept going down with this market. But just look at this at the 200 SMA that held on to it right here. The 200 SMA line held on to it, and a nice reversal. Now, had this broken the 200 SMA, we had this gap to fill, but it held on to it. I would keep an eye. I would look for an entry around here, as I will also show you guys over here on Walmart. We saw some nice activity on Friday for Walmart, and you could see some mostly calls, some puts, but mostly calls above ask for April, for March end, for March 16th. Some nice calls, 323 March 23rd. So nice calls being bought at the ask and above ask. So I didn't buy any yet, but I will definitely keep an eye on this. other one I want to talk is MU, as this has been on a nice ramp during this market pullback. One of the strongest stocks in the semis lately. And the only time I'm talking about MU is because you can see this resistance at the 49.89 and the strong base at $39. As you can see right here, right here, right here. So this is a strong base, 40 bucks, a strong base. And me making a nice U shape here, a nice U shape. The moment we break out, this is gonna go much higher, much higher. But a nice bounce of the 13 SMA, which also, if you look back here, is a nice support. You can see over here, nice consolidation on this range, and it's been consolidating since November in this, between 47 and 39. And we finally seeing some action. The earnings are up next end of the month, so expect this to move up come end of March. The last one I want to talk is Intel. Let's see if I can get this back up. There we go. And Intel has been another one that has been strong in this market. Same thing, a nice U shape. 40 range has been held on to it since right here. It also kind of filled the gap, this one. So this is a 42 base, is a very strong base here. A nice U shape, a little bull flag. And let's expect this to get over 50 this week. A nice green candle from the 13 SMA, and this should continue. I would recommend to look into, keep an eye on the tech semis for next few weeks as we go through this rough period of the tech, the Dow stocks like McDonald's, Caterpillar. I like those stocks, but let's just kind of keep an eye on tech, as they will be the strongest during this rough time as we go through this tariff issues, whatever that is. So keep an eye on semis, on tech, Netflix, Facebook, Intel, MUs, maybe Nvidia, and that's about it. So keep an eye, be safe in the market as we head into some volatile next couple of weeks. If you can trade, take it easy. Don't overtrade. Take gains as you see them. Just my advice. Don't be in hopium. So just be safe out there. And if you feel like you can't trade in this market, sit out for a couple of weeks. There's no rush. And play small. Always play small. No rush. All right. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.